And the technique's dead easy. It's called ABC, answer bridge content. And essentially what it means is, if I ask you, do you think the Scottish Government needs to do more to help small businesses, right? You might think, well, I don't really want to talk about politics. I don't really want to criticise them. I'm certainly not going to praise them. Yeah, I don't have a view on it, right? Yeah. So you're like Emma Raducanu back at the beginning, where you're thinking, this isn't what I'm here to do today, okay? But I'm not going to run away and say no comment or shut it all down. What I'm going to do instead is I'll give them something, and then I'll use a bridging word or phrase to move it over to all this positive content that is your key messages, the material you've prepared, you could talk about all day. This needs to be interesting, because if it's not, I'm going to say, hang on a minute.
Go back to the question.
I asked you about what the government could do to support you. Why are we talking about happy kids? I'll ask you again, okay? So this does need to be good and interesting. This bit needs to be very subtle. So it's maybe something like, my focus is, or I think what matters the most to parents, or my priority, or those the little kind of phrase in there. And you need to think in this bit, how much are you prepared to give away? How much are you prepared to talk about? Well, I've been going for 9 years, and frankly, I'd take any help I could get, you know, or, well, yes, I'd always love to get a bit more from Renfrewshire Council, but to be honest with you, there's the bridge, but to be honest with you, what matters the most for me is happy parents spreading the word. Most of my business goes through word of mouth, and I love it when they do that. Right? That's the game that's getting played, okay? Now, when things go wrong, if the interview's more hostile, if you are getting criticism, this bit gets harder, right? Because now I'm maybe saying something like, we've seen your reviews and it seems like some of the kids have had a bad experience. You started a franchise in Edinburgh, it closed down after 3 months. What happened? What are you going to say there? Okay, so this bit needs here a wee bit more work. Yeah, we launched in Edinburgh, and unfortunately at that time, we didn't quite have the model right. So we came back to the West and concentrated there for a little while, sorted it all out, and now we've got a much better model that we're rolling out today, and we're launching in Dundee or whatever it is, okay? Rather than trying to deny that there was ever an issue. Because if you don't acknowledge it, the risk is the journalist just keeps coming back, right? And then it overshadows everything else you say. And when you get the slides, there's a little example of this guy, you see this guy from BlackBerry mobile phones giving an interview, and she just stays on it, and what went wrong, what went wrong, what went wrong. And if he'd used this model, it could have really helped him. So that's called answer bridge content. And you get better the more you do it. We'll have time for another interview where you can maybe practice it. I'll maybe be a wee bit critical with you and see how you get on. You can also practice it on your own. You've got your smartphone. You could record yourself and play it back and just get into the habit. Sometimes the situations maybe where you wouldn't use this model. It's not an answer to everything. If the journalist is asking, if it is a kind of hostile situation and they want a straight yes or no, or if it relates maybe to a sum of money. So maybe you get a COVID grant or something, and there's an allegation that you misspend it or something like that, and they say, how much was it you got from Renfrewshire Council? Now, when I ask that, I know the answer because it's probably written in their accounts. So if you dodge it with this answer bridge content, it might make you look a bit evasive, and then I just keep coming back and coming back. So it's there, it can help, but there's certain situations maybe where you might drop it and give a more direct answer. Or if it's something you really don't want to talk about, you just say, sorry, I'm not here to talk about this today. I'm not getting involved in politics. I hope you don't mind. Or I don't have that information right now. You didn't tell me you were going to ask that. I'll go and find out and come back to you. Okay? And do it with a smile. Do it like you're trying to help them, but recognize where I can't answer this and I'm not going to.